What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, and we got some fun things to talk about on today's show. The bulk of the show is going to be looking at 5 possible QB options if the Browns need to go that route if Deshaun Watson does receive a full year suspension. But first, I thought it'd be fun. It's early June. Why don't we talk about trading for Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry? Because Adam Schefter tweeted out this morning that McLaurin is not reporting to mandatory minicamp in Washington. He's on that contract holdout, and so it'd be a fun idea. It's not going to happen, right? We should just say that right now. The Browns don't have, 1, a first-round pick to offer Scary Terry, which is what he's worth, and 2, they just got enough stuff to worry about other than trading for a top-tier wide receiver. But I think we can at least look at what Scary Terry's trying to, get himself into, which is top 5 highest paid most likely. Is he worth that? He's right around A.J. Brown. I don't know if he's $27, $28 million worth, but he's going to make a case for it. But it's a fun idea altogether. It's not going to happen. I don't want you to come away from this video thinking it's a real possibility. No, but it would be cool because wow, like if you had Deshaun Watson all season with Amari Cooper and Scary Terry, that would be a awesome offense just for the wide receiver to quarterback position. But now let's get into what this video is all about, because yesterday I was talking to Jacob Roach, about, just QB options for the Browns if it unfortunately gets to the point where Deshaun Watson can't play a full season. Before we look at my 5 targets, though, we are almost at 10,000 subscribers. Before we get to that milestone, let's reach 9,200, 15 subs away. If you haven't already, make sure you lock yourself in for free daily Browns content by hitting that subscribe button. I also want to just preface I know I'm teasing you guys for too long here, but before we look at any names, I'm against losing any 2nd to 4th round picks. I wouldn't say that Deshaun Watson is suspended for a full season. It's a lost year, but you're not going to win a Super Bowl with any of these 5 guys we're looking at, in my opinion. So why give up a good draft pick when you already don't have a first-round pick, okay? You look at the Browns' 2023 draft picks, and I've been kind of harsh on this a little bit. Not that I've been more of a Debbie Downer, not harsh. But they still got 8 picks to work with. So even though they don't have their first, you could be like the Dolphins this past season, who only had 4 draft picks. Now, I don't want to see them lose any pick on the left-hand side of your screen. I just don't think a quarterback that they can acquire in a trade is likely going to win it. It would be a major long shot to win a Super Bowl this year. So why give up one of your better picks that you do have in 2023? First guy to check out, though, is Jimmy Garoppolo. I may have to walk some things back I said about a week ago about trading for Jimmy G, because I don't know. I don't think a full year suspension is coming for Deshaun Watson, but if it were to happen, you'd have to at least check out Garoppolo, right? Last season for the Niners, 3,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. He's in an interesting spot like Baker, where the Niners probably didn't play their cards just right, and now they're stuck with a QB coming off shoulder surgery that no one really seems all that interested in my opinion. It's hard to say why, but if you compare Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett's best seasons, which were coincidentally both in 2019, there's not much of an argument here, right? I mean, we're not trying to fool anyone and saying Brissett could be just as good as Garoppolo. No. Jimmy G is absolutely an upgrade, but it's a little complicated trading for Jimmy Garoppolo. 1, he's more expensive than what Baker Mayfield's contract is. He's $24 million. Now, the Browns have $40 million to play with, so they could make it work financially. But I kind of go back to what I said earlier. Let's say you give up a 3rd or a 4th round pick for him, okay? Are you really interested in giving up one of your better picks in 2023? When you're likely not going to win the Super Bowl? I mean, Jimmy G has done wonders for the Niners, okay? He may not have the best stats out there, but he brought that team, well, I don't know if he brought that team, but he was on that team that went to the Super Bowl, okay? He knocked off the Packers and the Cowboys on the road this past season. Again, maybe not so much he did, but the Niners did, and he was the quarterback, so he's got to get some level of credit. But at the end of the day, if you're the Browns, you've seen what his limitations are. He can be awesome in the regular season, be a great game manager, help you win, help the ball club win some games. but he's not going to win a Super Bowl, in my opinion. And so with that in mind, I'm not interested in trading for Garoppolo unless the Niners go, hey, no one's calling, take him for a 7th. If it's a 7th, yeah, I'll do that for sure. But if it's actually one of the Browns' more valuable picks, it's an N for no for me. Let me know what you are, Y for yes or N for no. Next QB option is Gardner Minshew. Now, this name is a little more intriguing because he's a lot cheaper than Garoppolo, right? In fact, if you look at what Gardner Minshew's career has been so far, like hand up, I was surprised. The guy was awesome in his first season. If you just look at the stats, he had a lot of flair to him, a lot of fun, but at the end of the day, 21 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. We're all trying to do this game of if you take quarterback X's stats from this year and plug it into the Browns, what Baker did last season, which mustered up 8 wins between him and 2 Case Keenum appearances, you would think, okay, the natural trajectory would be the Browns could win 10 games. So if you want to get if Gardner Minshew could be got for cheap, let's get weird. Let's have some fun with it, right? That's what me and Jacob were talking about yesterday. I mean, it didn't cost Philly much to get Gardner Minshew for the Eagles. What did he go for? A 6th-round pick that could be turned into a 5th? Yeah, I'm all for it. I think Gardner Minshew is a better quarterback than Jacoby Brissett. Statistically, I don't think there's much of an argument there. Maybe you could try to argue scheme and whatnot. Don't get too nerdy on me. But I would rather go with Gardner Minshew. If he can be got for cheap, now the Eagles may be trying to sell him for better what they got him for, right? They sold a 6th for him. Maybe they try to get a 5th or a 4th. Now we're kind of entering waters I'm not that interested in. But if you had to pick a quarterback, who would it be? Put the jersey number. I'm going to roll with Gardner Minshew's number in Jacksonville because I feel like that's a more iconic number for him, 15, rather than 4 games in Philly last year wearing number 10. But drop the number for the player you would rather have if you had to pick a quarterback between Jimmy G and Gardner Minshew. Next guy up, now we fall off like 50 feet. We go to Jordan Love. I briefly touched on this guy. Well, that sounded weird. We were back in like March, February of Baker Mayfield possible replacements, and I was never really that high on him. We'll look at some stats in just a second, but the NBA draft, everyone, is just 10 days away from today, right? The Cavs have a top half pick, 14th overall. So if you are looking for a spot to get free draft coverage, a free live stream, and here's the beauty of the Chat Sports stream, okay? What makes us different from, say, ESPN is when the pick is announced via Twitter to Woj Bombs, we're going with it right then and there. We're not making you wait because ESPN, the high-ups say, hey, ignore Woj Bombs. We want all the press. We want everyone to watch our stream. No, if you want actually real-life, up-to-date picks, check us out. Watch us on YouTube or Rumble. Check us out, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Going back to Jordan Love, though. He had one start, okay, in his entire career when Rodgers got the Coco, right? And it was in Kansas City, 190 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. He was rather disappointing. In fact, maybe he knew it was going to be that bad of a game because he put his mom and his girlfriend in the last absolute row of the stadium at Arrowhead. But Aaron Rodgers was asked by a reporter the other day if he's going to finish his career in Green Bay, and he said, yes, definitely. So after signing that 3-year contract extension, Jordan Love, a first-round pick from 2020, his value has never been lower. I don't see him, barring injury and blowouts in week 18 against the Lions, I don't see a way Jordan Love is really ever going to have a shot to play with the Packers. So if the Packers go, you know what, we miscalculated Rodgers' career, we'll just give up on this first-round pick, not because he sucks, but because he doesn't have any future here for at least 5 years. Let's get a 6th or a 7th for him and just call it a day and, just kiss Rodgers' right butt cheek and say, we're so sorry for ever picking your replacement. But ultimately, I would pass on Love. I don't think, from what we've seen so far, he doesn't look like an awesome quarterback in the shadows of Aaron Rodgers waiting to break through, kind of like how Rodgers was for Favre, right? I just don't see it going to work out for him. The Packers reached on him, and they probably are just looking to move on, and hopefully it's not with the Browns. Next QB option, what about in-house? okay? Jacoby Brissett. This is the most, we'll say, popular or the most common outcome this could happen, okay? The most likely outcome. Because if you look at what Brissett did back in 2019, the last time he was a true starter, okay? Because he was in Miami last year and he played in 5 games, 2 starts, but we'll ignore those stats. Nearly 3,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. You could say those are better stats than what an injured Baker had last year. And the Browns won 8 games with that. So wouldn't you naturally think Jacoby Brissett with the Browns this year, plus those stats, would be 9, 10 wins right on the line of a playoff appearance? My argument would be, don't use QB stats from 3 years ago. 1, he's a different person than he was 3 years ago. 2, everything has changed, right? It's a different team. It's a different system. I don't like the idea of selling yourself on a quarterback because of what he did 3 seasons ago. It just doesn't, it's not going to hold much water for me. I don't think that's a good way to measure how a quarterback would do with this team 3 years later. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to go, well, if the Browns won 8 games with an injured Baker last year, you take this roster minus Baker plus 2019 Brissett, and it should be 9, 10 wins. It doesn't work like that, okay? Because what Brissett did last year in Miami, by the way, wasn't very pretty. He's a backup for a reason. Let's not lose sight of that. Jacoby Brissett is a backup quarterback in the NFL because after starting 1 season in Indianapolis, or more than 1 season, but his last start in 2019, no GM really viewed him as a legit starter anymore. So, not to go Shark Tank on you, but for that reason, I'm out on Jacoby Brissett being this Hall of Fame backup quarterback that can just step into this Browns roster, which, don't get me wrong, has tons of talent. There's no shortage of talent outside the QB position. But I can't wrap my head around Jacoby Brissett leading this Browns team to the playoffs this year with how loaded the AFC is. What's your confidence level on Jacoby Brissett? I'm not saying like he can only win 4 games. That's not what I'm trying to get across. But I think there are one too many people out there that think insert Brissett because of what he did in 2019 with this roster equals 10-7 playoffs. No, I don't think you can't do that. You can't take stats from 2019 and just expect it to be a carbon copy with how good this team was last year and expect, Y outcome of 10-7 playoffs. But let me know where your confidence level is. Scale it 1 to 10. 5th and final option, I just wanted to bring it up because it's funny to me that maybe there is even a soul out there that believes Baker Mayfield is ever going to take a snap for the Browns again. I mean, keep dreaming. If it does happen, it's 15 years from now, and the entire regime is gone, and it's water under the bridge. Kind of like, for example, if like OBJ went back to the Giants, in like 3 years to end his career, how that may be happening. But I just do not see a way in any sort of shape or form Baker takes a snap for the Browns in 2022. I said it before. I'll say it again. If Baker Mayfield plays 1 snap for the Browns in 2022, I'm doing a polar plunge in Lake Erie. Before we wrap up the show, I just want to give some shout outs here because we got some super thanks here on the channel just a couple of days ago. If you're not sure what super thanks is, if you can't tune into our live shows, which are every Thursday at 4 Eastern, but you still want to find a way to donate or support the show, YouTube has a new feature where you get that little, was it like right there? Yeah. A little heart icon with the $ emoji in the middle of it, and boom, you can join Chuck Taylor, who said 3 Big Ten receivers taken at 10, 11, and 16, and Bell was the best wide receiver in the conference, and he fell to the 3rd. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder. I love the David Bell pick in round 3. The guy's just got sticky hands. Anything that's thrown in his vicinity, he finds a way to haul it in, even if he doesn't have a blazing 40. We also got super thanks from my guy HNT. So shout out to you and Chuck Taylor. I greatly appreciate your continued support of the show. And hey, if you want to get a shout out on the show, we'll be doing shout outs here and there. We got some new sub shout outs coming on later on in the week. And we got the voting results to keep in mind for the Cleveland Browns Stadium Name Challenge we're doing here. But easy way to maybe skip the line and guarantee a shout out. Super thanks, and it's greatly appreciated. To kind of put a bow on these 5 QB options, I'm not opposed to trading for a quarterback if Deshaun Watson is suspended for an entire season, but only for cheap. Because I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to come into this Browns roster for one season and win a Super Bowl and be a one-hit wonder and go, all right, peace out. You guys have fun with Deshaun. I'm on to the next team. I just don't see that happening. I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but I got to call it how I see it. And to me, why give up a good asset when you're already out your first-round pick? I don't think none of these quarterbacks are going for a second-rounder, but maybe Jimmy G goes for a third or a fourth. It's hard to say right now what his value is, but pencil it in as like a fourth, for example. To me, that's kind of like a third this year because you're already without your first. So I would not be interested in giving up any second, third, or fourth round pick for a quarterback on, I wouldn't say a lost season, but definitely a bit of deflating season. I don't think anyone is picking the Browns and Gardner Minshew or Jimmy Garoppolo to win the Super Bowl with how stacked the AFC is. So let's just not forget about that. It just may not be the year for the Browns to make a Super Bowl push with how loaded the AFC is, just across the board. All right, guys, appreciate everyone that watched today's video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Matthew Petey. And I'll see you guys later with more Browns news and rumors. If you know, you know.